ahead, shoot. Here's a clean place to shoot. Look, I'm a very simple person. I'm a little Jewish boy from the north end of Winnipeg. I grew up with Russian Jewish immigrant parents and grandparents. I have simple instincts. It never would occur to me to hand a drunk a glass of whiskey. It would never occur to me to hand a junkie a needle. It's abhorrent. It's morally disgusting, aside from the fact that it doesn't work. So, the mayor phones me, the nutty mayor, the current nutty mayor, and this is the conversation. I answer the phone on a Thursday, about 6-8 months ago, and somebody says something about a guy in a wheelchair. And I didn't hear the beginning, and I said, what? I'm not a guy in a wheelchair. I thought it was some pitch man trying to hustle me for something. And he says, no, I'm the guy in the wheelchair. I said, oh, what do you want? Because he knows I don't like him. And he says, look, I'm rolling out this new drug program, this drug substitute program, and I've got to have you there. I said, are you crazy? You know I detest what you're doing. You don't want me there. Yeah, but my people say if you're not on side, this will never work. I said, you get new advisors, because I am a totally marginalized old guy. I sit at home and read literature. You know, I have no influence on anybody. So get serious. No, my people say, I say, listen, the last time I had oral sex, I had my clothes off. What do you want? He said, no, you have to be there. I said, okay, what time? 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Where? At the hotel across from City Hall. Okay, so I go up there, go into a room about this size. There's 50 people, tables like this. There's croissants, apples, tea, coffee, and so on. First, everybody identifies themselves. Everybody except 2 or 3 people are all poverty pimps. They are all people earning $100,000 a year, working the downtown east side. Did you know that it is a fact, a documented fact, that the downtown east side is the most heavily socially subsidized community in North America per square block? There are more millions of dollars running more failing social programs in the downtown east side than anywhere. Before I continue with the Sam story, let me go back in history. Jeff Massey used to be on my board when I was running my nut house. Massey, famous architect from a famous family, he was also on city council. He picks me up one day and he says, David, I'm going to show you something. Drives me downtown, takes me to this beautiful stone building, opens the door, he has the key, we go in, it's filled with bats and rats. I said, wow, this is an amazing building. He said, yeah, it's yours. You know what it was? It was the Carnegie Center. He said, it's yours. I said, for what? He said, to run your program. I said, Jeff, you're on my board. You don't even know what I do. I wouldn't try to run a program at Main and Hastings. You cannot help drug addicts at Main and Hastings. It's all about the environment. Recovery is about the environment. When my son was in grade 5, he got thrown out of class a couple times. Everybody loves this kid. I love him. His mother loves him. Everybody, whoever meets him, loves him. How could he get thrown out of class? I go to the school. I hot nose around, I get this feeling, it could be partly Sean's fault, but it's partly this school. This is a negative, ugly place. So I pick him up and I move umpteen blocks west and I walk into a school and I meet the principal and I say, here's what's happened to my son, I'd like him to try your school. And the guy sits Sean down, he says, Sean, you look like a nice kid, we'll take you on. If we have any problems with you, I warn you right now, we'll believe the teacher, not you, because I know my teachers. And they come here at 7 in the morning because they love their work. Sean was really angry at me for a day and a half. And then the environment worked its magic. And he became a student, and he was never thrown out of class again. Because the school that he was in, it was socially important to be a rebel. This school that I took him to, it was socially important to be a student. Hello? These things aren't complicated. Okay? So I go to Sam's little tea party, and he has this guy rolling out this program about how we're going to give substitute drugs. So he rolls out his little PowerPoint demonstration, and during the PowerPoint he actually said, and I quote, I'm not making this up, and he was dead serious, it wasn't supposed to be funny. He said with enthusiasm, this is a $100,000 a year guy working for Sam. He said, oh, and you know, by the way, in Ottawa, they're showing some interesting results in the city of Ottawa, giving older drunks a glass of whiskey in the morning. It's absurd, but this is what we're doing. So, what we have now is we have governments, we have social agencies, we have doctors, we have all the powers that be all gathered together, all joining hands. We have the Vancouver Agreement, we have the Four Pillars Committee, we have everybody liaising, everybody meeting, everybody interfacing, everybody having meetings, right? It's all being recorded, there are faxes being sent out, there are name tags being put on, and nothing is done. Because they don't want to do anything. Why not? Because their hero is Jean Chrétien. Because Jean Chrétien proved, after how many years, 12 years in office, that the way you stay in political office is don't do anything. Because if you do something, you could make a mistake and be held accountable for it. Okay? So that's what politicians want to do, nothing. I have known every mayor and every premier of this province personally for 40 years. I've had coffee with every one of them. I've had lunch with every one of them. And in every instance, the subject of our conversation has been money for treatment. And in every instance, they patted me on the shoulder and said, "That's great, David. Good, yes, that's the way to go." And the net result of all of those meetings over these years is dick. They've never put up a penny for treatment. Okay? Now, I'll give you some good news, and then I'll tell you what you can do. The good news is that there are some changes happening. There are some real movements happening. First of all, number one, a member of this club, of the Arbutus Club, not of the Rotary Club, but of the Arbutus Club, Susie and Bob Rattan, a retired prosecutor, they have worked tirelessly with a group called From Grief to Action. They're a Kerrisdale couple whose son was an addict. They couldn't find a treatment for him and so on. They worked tirelessly. I can't tell you the whole story, but the punchline is they got the Premier to agree a few months ago to put up, and the Health Minister, is it George Abbott, is that his name? Agreed a few months ago to fund $2.5 million a year to run a program that will soon be in Karameas, run by a group called Portage. Portage comes from Quebec, and Portage is run on exactly the same model as the program that I created and is still running in Manitoba. It's called a therapeutic community model. It's a model where people are in a community for 6 months to 2 years, relearning how to live life. Portage, if it gets the $6 million it needs, they are, by the way, this group is working with the Central City Foundation, formerly Central City Mission, to open Portage at Karameas in a former Outward Bound site. Okay, they need $6 million to get it up and running, but they're getting there and it'll happen. Also, Lauren Maincourt, the MLA for the downtown, has got a hold of this site in Prince George. It's an old army site, and he is trying to replicate the most famous of these therapeutic community models, which is called San Patrignano, which is just north of Venice in Italy. And it's a community exactly like the one I ran, with businesses and so on, but it has 1,500 people living there. Okay, and Lauren has dedicated himself to trying to get that open. Slowly,